Hey, what is up, everybody? Michael Crump back here again, talking about the latest and the greatest in PlayStation Homebrew news and much, much more. So today I have a crammed pack show for you covering a bunch of different PlayStation 4 related news, as well as some PlayStation 5 related news. What game am I currently playing right now? I'm going to tell you, as well as what game I'm really looking forward to playing that's not on the PlayStation. Let's just go ahead and let's jump straight into it right now. So to begin with, I wanted to talk a bit about all of the news and the videos and the articles that have been coming out regarding downgrading the PlayStation 4 to a previous version. Basically what is known as the revert method. So if you don't know, for the most part, if you have a PlayStation 4 and you would like to revert back to the firmware that it was previously on, there is a number of steps that you can take in order to downgrade your PlayStation 4. Now, it's absolutely not as simple as what it may sound like it is. So like, for example, we're used to downgrading maybe the PlayStation Vita through software. Well, with the PlayStation 4, it's a very complicated method. Now, there is a video that's over here by Modded Warfare that I would greatly recommend that you check out. But what you're looking at right here on screen is the Syscon chip. Now, keep in mind, and he mentioned this in his video right here, that this chip is not designed to be, read from or wrote to or anything like that. And so for the most part, what you have to do is you have to take this chip back off of your PlayStation 4, you have to get another chip and you have to flash it and then put it back on your PlayStation 4. Now, that is a very complicated thing to do, and there is a number of different illustrations that shows the amount of work that is. I mean, you can kind of look right here. This guide is setting at 57 minutes, which is just showing you, in a professional manner how to do this exploit, which it would take a lot more time in order to accomplish this on your own. There's also a lot of just know-how. This is absolutely perfect for a video guide, and there is a couple of different written guides. The main one coming over here from BetterWayElectronics, which has a number of other guides, especially for the PlayStation 4, that you can check out on their GitHub repo. But for this one, they have a guide here on using or updating the Syscon chip here. And the Syscon chip is really what makes this process a lot more complicated. So in this guide right here, they talk about how you can read and write your own PS4 Syscon, and you can do things like downgrade and repair the loadbios type corruptions. You can also enable the surface mode. Now, it says right here that you can't write to the original chip, but it requires a totally different method and requires a pre-flashed Arduino that you can purchase from BetterWayElectronics. Now, if we take a look at what the cost of these things currently are, we can see that, here is the shopping list. It has a BWE PS4 Syscon-writer, which is 180 Australian, and you can pre-order these things, as well as there's a number of additional parts right here. And again, if you add all of this up, it would probably be cheaper just to buy a PlayStation 4 already on 9.00 if you are looking for a jailbreak. And so just to wrap this section up, I personally would say that if it were me, I would look on sites such as OfferUp, Craigslist, etc. in order to find a PS4 that's already jailbroken versus do any of these methods that I've talked about here today. But that's just me. If you have the skill, you have the know-how, you have the patience, and all of the other requirements that's needed in order to do this, then go for it. Next up, in some more PlayStation 4 related news, you may remember back here on November the 13th, I created another video which was unlock a number of PS4 game patches, such as 60 frames per second, skip intros, and more. with GoldHEN, and this was 2.2.5b7. Now, I described in this video how you could do it. Obviously, there's moving some files around and loading up different types of GoldHEN cheat manager. There's a patch section and more. And it was nice to see that Illusion, one of the folks that has been working on this feature, posted a couple of brand new screenshots. So here is plugin settings. Now, I would imagine that this is an option inside of GoldHEN. So you can see here, there is progress that's obviously being made with a plugin section. Plugins allow you to customize your games like never before. So hook into games before boot, write your own code into games if you wanted to do that, or hook and modify system functions. And so here is a bit of the information, such as plugins are currently available, AFR, application file redirector. There is game patches where you can apply user-made game patches before boot. And then you can do things like remove image watermarks, video, and screenshot blocks from the games. Okay, so next up is an update to FP PS4. And if you're not aware of what that is, basically this is a PlayStation 4 emulator that runs on your PC. Now, this project just recently got a little bit of additional exposure over on YouTube. And one of the things that I wanted to mention here is that while this project is great and wonderful, a lot of times these emulators live and die based off of the game compatibility list. And well, the developer here, which is Reverting, has released a FP PS4 game compatibility list. So you can come in here and you can submit the game that you're currently playing. That way, others that are looking to see if they can play that game can come back over here and can go to the issue list here, and they can see whether or not that game is working or not. So you can obviously just come in here and you could search for your game, and you can see the different types of status codes. So like not a hero is a status of playable. And if you click on that label of status playable, you can see right now there is 57 that show that they are playable. So anyway, there is some progress that is being made in the FP PS4 game emulator. And then there was a release that came out, which was GoldHEN version 2.2.5b8. Now, I talked about it in detail in this video right here. Basically, you got the option to add scan lines into your game and really any PlayStation 4 related game or app, and also game debug settings where you can come in and you could remove, say for example, a patch that you applied to a game. Now, one thing I did want to call out here is that if you go over to the GoldHEN official release page, you will only see the official releases. And that is because Sistro and team typically distributes this on his Ko-Fi page. But the reason that I said all of that is that if you do want to go ahead and you do want to play with it, if you go into my video right here, you can see that there is a URL, and typically I just use EchoStretch's es7and1.site whenever I want to play with some of these betas. Now, when the official version comes out, it will be released over here on the official project page. If you wanted to, download it and maybe put it on one of your ESP32S2 devices or something of that nature. But anyway, definitely check out all of the new features in GoldHEN. And then we have some news coming over here from Control Execute, and this says Stage 1 of the 2.50 kernel exploit is complete, and if Stage 2 works, we might be able to get a kernel exploit working properly on 2.50 and below. And so what makes this a bit interesting here is that over on the official repo, what we can see right now is that the exploit that we currently have works all the way on 3.0 all the way up to 4.51. And if this information is correct right here, then we would have a kernel exploit setting on at least 2.50. Now, for all of the other firmwares that's in between these numbers, Obviously, we don't know that information just yet, but still, it would be nice to go ahead and add some 2.50 PlayStation 5s into the mix for this. But still, something really cool for those of you that already have a PlayStation 5 on these very low firmwares. Now, there was another kind of rumor post here regarding the hypervisor. And what's said right here is that from what I've been told, the only hypervisor exploit that has been found on PS5 has already been disclosed and patched at around the 4.0 firmware. Take this information with a grain of salt, as I have no clue if it is correct or not. And for the most part, I don't really think there's anything substantial there to talk about. Outside of there is this one tweet, there's been people that's been talking about the hypervisor. I think a lot of people want the hypervisor, obviously, because we can do all kinds of amazing things then, but we don't really have it, and it even says right here, take this with a grain of salt. So I would say for the most part, if you hear people talking about the hypervisor, you may want to kind of ignore some of that and just wait until it comes from somebody official and that's trusted that's in the scene. Now, there's also another rumor that I'll just go ahead and add in here, and that's all around these $3 Nintendo Switch mod chips that might be coming. And the main thing here is that these are compatible with the version 2 and the OLED model Nintendo Switches. Now, I do have a Nintendo Switch that's on a V1 and it is unpatched, so I've been enjoying the things that the modding scene has been able to give for the Nintendo Switch, but it will be amazing to see what kind of comes out of this. Obviously, most of the hardware that a lot of people are talking about is typically these sort of Raspberry Pico chips. And we'll just have to wait and see what comes out of it. But this could be a very amazing thing for the Nintendo Switch if this comes to life. Next up, I did not want to forget some of the amazing posts that have been coming out by PS4 Linux. This is really a site that I'm starting to go to every day. But there was a new post that came out, and it was set up your ESP32-S2 for automatic PS4 jailbreaking, and they provided a full tutorial on how to do this, connecting your ESP32-S2 to your PC in a programming mode, installing and setting up Arduino, to going through and just setting up the board itself, how to upload new payloads, accessing the server exploit on a PlayStation 4. And again, if you would like to see a video tutorial of this, then you can obviously check out one of mine. I've got a number of different tutorials on how you can set up your own PlayStation 4 9.00 jailbreak with ESP32, and I also have one for the ESP32 S2 based boards. Then for the PlayStation 5, notice that on the PlayStation.wiki, there is a SKU models that you can go and you can check out in order to potentially give you some information about what firmware that model is currently on. So here list the models as well as the region that they came from, and then some of the release firmware that is on there. But still, this is something that if you're interested in contributing to, I think that this would be very helpful for others that are especially looking for a lower version firmware for their PlayStation 5. And then there was an update over here with FTP S5, and basically this is an FTP server for the WebKit exploit. So 4.03, etc. This also works with 3.x. And if we go into the releases right here, you can see that the changelog right here says fixed the display of the size of large files. And basically what this does is that this fixes the file size for large files that is reported from the server. So if you're copying a really large file over, you may not have the correct file size as it is coming back from your PlayStation 5 back over to your PC. This 1.2 version fixes that, so definitely check this one out. And then there was another update to the way that we dump our PlayStation 5 games via USB. So I mentioned and reviewed this payload back here on December the 1st, but there was some problems with the payload. And what I have noticed is that over here on Logic site, around 9 hours ago, there has been some more bugs that has been fixed. And if we scroll down into this, you can see that right here in update 1.03, it says, you can now follow the process with Netcat if you want to see where it's at in the dumping process. And then correction of an oversight during the test. You can see there was also a number of other things that has been added in since I made that video. There's also a new configuration file just called conf.ini. So anyway, if you want to check out and maybe give this a try, I would expect that you're going to get better results than what I got back over here when I reviewed this on December the 1st. Next up, I wanted to add in something a bit fun here, and it was, what game am I looking forward to playing? And it's actually this game right here called High on Life. It looks just absolutely incredible. Now, this game is only on PC and Xbox, meaning we can't play it on our beloved PlayStation. But the game looks amazing. I'll have to see what the reviews and everything like that comes out of it. But one thing that I did note is that it is available for free if you do have Game Pass. So I have Game Pass on a Xbox of mine, and I am definitely going to be downloading this game probably today. And hopefully I will be playing it very, very soon. But definitely, if you want to know some of the games that I'm looking forward to, that was one of them. And then if you're wondering, what game am I playing right now? And the game that I'm playing today is on the PlayStation 4, and it's Doki Doki Literature Club. And so I did want to wrap this up by saying that this game is a mature game, and it has some very mature themes. I'm not necessarily recommending you to go play this game. More, I'm just kind of telling you what game I'm currently playing today. But anyway, the choice is yours. Okay, so thank you so very much for watching. I greatly do appreciate you. Don't forget to leave a like and subscribe to my channel. All right, I'll talk to you on the next one. Michael, out.